You are towing another vehicle or a trailer on a freeway with 4 lanes in your direction. You may travel in either of the two right lanes. You are driving on a city street and see an emergency vehicle with flashing lights behind you. What should you do? Drive to the right edge of the road and stop. You should stop before crossing railroad tracks. Anytime a train may be approaching, whether you can see it or not. Which child requires a child restraint system? A 7-year-old who is 4 feet 7 inches tall. When parking your vehicle on any hill, use your parking brake and leave your vehicle in gear or park. You are driving 45 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour zone. You can be cited for speeding if it is unsafe for current weather conditions. Give extra space to drivers backing out of a parking space because they may not see you. If you are convicted by the court of a first DUI, your driving privilege will be revoked for 1 year. Following closely behind another vehicle, tailgating. A common cause for rear-end collisions. A law enforcement officer notices that one of your passengers is not wearing a seatbelt and writes a citation. Which of the following is true? You may receive a citation if your passenger is younger than 16. The driver ahead of you stops at a crosswalk. Stop, then proceed when all pedestrians have crossed. When should you use your headlights? Anytime you have trouble seeing others or being seen. You are on a road with only 1 lane in each direction and you want to pass another vehicle, but there is a curve ahead which blocks your view. You must not pass the other vehicle. Dim your light for an oncoming vehicles or when you are within 300 feet of a vehicle. You are approaching from behind. When driving in fog, use your low beam headlights. Which of these is a legal U-turn? On a highway where there is an opening for a turn, you may cross double yellow lines to pass another vehicle if yellow line next to your side of the road is broken. You are driving on a road where the speed limit is 45 miles per hour. All the other vehicles are driving 50 miles per hour or faster. You may legally drive no faster than 45 miles per hour. When merging onto a freeway, you should be driving at or near the same speed as the freeway traffic. When a school bus with its red lights flashing is stopped ahead on your side of the road, you must stop until the lights stop flashing. A person between 13 and 18 years of age may have her driving privilege for 1 year if convicted as a habitual truant. Suspended. You must make a written report of a traffic accident occurring in California, SR1, to DMV when you are involved in a collision and there is an injury. Pedestrians crossing at corners have the right of way, whether or not a crosswalk is marked. For which of the following traffic lights must you always stop your vehicle? Solid red lights, flashing red lights, and blacked out traffic signals. What is the difference between traffic lights with red arrows and those with solid red lights? You can never turn against a red arrow, even if you stop first. Cargo extending more than 4 feet from your rear bumper must be marked with a red flag or lights. You have had your license for 8 months. You may drive between 5 a.m. and 11 p.m. unaccompanied. When you park on a level road next to a curb, your wheels must be within 18 inches of the curb. Which of these statements is true about road construction zones? Slow down for the safety of you and the construction workers. You are driving in the far right lane of a multi-lane freeway. A line of 5 cars is merging into your lane ahead from an on-ramp. Who'd make room for the merging vehicles if possible? If you want to pass a bicyclist in a narrow traffic lane when an oncoming car is approaching, slow down and let the car pass, then pass the bicyclist. You see a car approaching from the rear. When you check your mirror again to change lanes, you no longer see the car. You should look over your shoulder to be sure the car is not in your blind spot. When driving near road construction zones, you should reduce speed and be prepared to stop. It is illegal to leave a child 6 years of age or younger unattended in a motor vehicle. When the keys are in the ignition. Oh, be sure a lane is clear before you change lanes, you should look over your shoulder into the lane that you want to enter. Your wheels should be pointed straight ahead, unless you are parked on a hill or sloping driveway. Parking is never permitted in a crosshatched, diagonal, pattern space. If your driving record shows that you failed to appear in court after receiving a traffic ticket, DMV may suspend your driving privilege until you appear in court. When roads are slippery, you should avoid making fast turns and fast stops. Which of these statements is true about driving and taking medications? Most cold medications can make a person drowsy. When you see this yellow sign, you should be prepared to stop if children are in the crosswalk. When a traffic light turns green, should you go immediately? Yes, but yield to any person or vehicle still in the intersection. Backing your vehicle is always dangerous to do. You are exiting a freeway on a ramp that curves downhill. You should slow to a safe speed before the curve. Allow extra space in front of your vehicle when you are following a large tour bus. Which of the following is true about safety belts and collisions? They increase your chances of survival in most types of collisions. California Driver Handbook recommends several tips to help you keep alert on long drives. One of these tips is pull off the road and rest. There are 5 vehicles following closely behind you on a road with one lane in your direction. When you see this white sign, you should drive to the side of the road and stop in the designated area. You must carefully look for bicycles in traffic lanes because they will be hidden in your blind spots. Is legal for a person under 21 years of age to drive with a blood alcohol concentration, BAC, that is underscore or more 0.01%, 1/100th of 1%. You are at a red traffic signal. The traffic light turns green, but there are still other vehicles in the intersection. You should wait until the vehicles clear the intersection before entering. Smoking inside a vehicle when a person that is younger than 18 years of age is present is illegal at all times. The 3-second rule applies to the space of your vehicle. Ahead. When you enter traffic from a full stop, e.g., pulling away from the curb, you need a large enough gap to get up to the speed of traffic. Always look carefully for motorcycles before changing lanes because their smaller size makes them harder to see. You are entering the freeway, you should check traffic by checking all mirrors and turning your head. A traffic light is red, but a peace officer is signaling you to continue driving. What should you do? Do as the officer tells you. If you are a minor and your cell phone rings while you are driving, you should let the call go to voicemail. This yellow sign means the road ahead is slippery. To turn left from a one-way street onto a one-way street, start from the far left lane. You are going to make a left turn in a dedicated left turn lane. When a yellow arrow appears for your lane, you should be prepared to obey the next signal that appears. Check your rearview mirrors often to see how traffic is moving behind you. If you have a collision, the law requires you to exchange your driver license information with others involved in the collision. You must use your seatbelt, and failure to do so may result in a traffic ticket. When changing lanes on a freeway, you should signal for at least 5 seconds prior to changing lanes. A pedestrian who is blind or visually impaired uses traffic sounds before deciding to cross the street. If you see a pedestrian with a guide dog or white cane waiting to cross at a corner, you should pull up to the crosswalk so that the person can hear your engine. A peace officer stops you because he suspects you are DUI. You refuse to take a chemical test. What happens now? Your driving privilege may be taken away. If a pedestrian is in a crosswalk in the middle of a block, the pedestrian has the right of way. This red and white sign means you may not enter the road from your direction. Which of the following blocks the smooth flow of traffic? Slowing down to look at a collision scene. Which of the following is true about large trucks? Trucks often appear to travel slower because of their large size. If you drive slower than the flow of traffic, you will most likely interfere with traffic and receive a ticket. The speed limit for a school zone is 4, unless posted otherwise, 25 miles per hour. This yellow sign means there is a traffic signal ahead. Other drivers are not making room for you to merge onto a freeway with heavy traffic. If necessary, you may stop before merging with freeway traffic. A green arrow pointing to the left on a traffic light means you may make a protected turn in that direction. You should not start across an intersection if you know you will block the intersection when the light turns red. Under any circumstances, you should adjust your rearview mirror and side mirrors before you start driving. Whose responsibility is it to know how your medications affect your driving? Yours. Generally speaking, you are in a large truck's blind spot if you cannot see the truck driver in the truck's side mirrors. If a driver is going to pull out in front of you, the safest thing to do is slow or stop your car and use your horn. You are on a two-way road and the vehicle ahead of you is turning left into a driveway. You may legally pass the vehicle on the right, if there is enough road between the vehicle and the curb to do so. You may drive in a bike lane no more than 200 feet before making a right turn. This yellow sign means vehicles on this road travel in two different directions. You must notify law enforcement and make a written report of traffic accident occurring in California, SR1, to DMV when you have a collision and there is an injury or death. This red sign means that you should give the right of way to traffic on the road that you are entering or crossing. When planning to pass another vehicle, you should not assume that they will make space for you to return to your lane. Even if you know your vehicle can maneuver a sharp curve at the legal speed limit, you should still slow down because there may be a stalled car or a collision ahead that you cannot see. Which of these is recommended when driving at night on a dimly lit street? Drive slowly enough to stop within the area lighted by your headlights. If you have trouble seeing other vehicles because of dust or smoke blowing across the roadway, you should drive slower and turn on your headlights. If there is a single set of solid yellow lines in the center of the roadway, you may cross the lines to turn left into a driveway. You are driving in the far right lane of a 4-lane freeway and notice thick broken white lines on the left side of your lane. An exit lane. If you are unable to see the road ahead while driving because of heavy rain or fog, and your wipers do not help, you should pull off of the road completely until visibility improves. This yellow sign means you are approaching a railroad crossing. At intersections, crosswalks, and railroad crossings, you should always look to the sides of your vehicle. If you are driving 55 miles per hour on a 2-lane highway, 1 lane in each direction, and want to pass the car ahead of you, to pass safely, you need to have at least a 10 to 12-second gap in the oncoming traffic. U-turns in residential districts are legal when there are no vehicles approaching nearby. If the roadway is wet and your car starts to skid, you should slowly ease your foot off of the gas pedal. Which of these statements are true about child passengers? Children under age 1 should not ride in the front seat in airbag-equipped vehicles. Which way do you turn your wheels when parked uphill next to a curb? Away from the curb. You must notify DMV within 5 days if you sell or transfer your vehicle. At night, if an oncoming vehicle fails to dim its high beams, look toward the right edge of your lane. You are getting ready to make a right turn. You should signal during the last 100 feet before your turn. Which of the following will help you avoid being hit from behind? Signaling at least 100 feet before turning. This yellow sign means there is a pedestrian crosswalk ahead. This yellow sign means sharp turn to the right. To see cars in bling spots, you should turn your head. Animals may be transported in the back of a pickup only if they are properly secured. If there is a deep puddle in the road ahead, you should steer your vehicle around the water if possible. Before driving into an intersection from a stop, you should look left, right, and left again. You have had your license for 3 months, you may drive between 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. unsupervised. You are being chased by a police vehicle with its lights and sirens activated. You ignore the warning to stop and speed away. During the chase, a person is seriously injured. You are subject to imprisonment and slash or fine of at least $2,000. Highways are typically most slippery when it first starts to rain after a dry spell. A flashing red traffic light at an intersection means stop before entering. You must yield to a pedestrian using a white cane or a guide dog at all times. You can be fined up to $1,000 and jailed for 6 months if you are cited for dumping or abandoning an animal on a highway. You are driving at night on a dimly lit street and using high beams. You should dim your lights when you are within 500 feet of an oncoming vehicle. To turn right from a highway with 2 lanes in your direction, turn from the lane nearest the curb or edge of the roadway. This yellow sign means merging lane ahead. Driving faster than traffic and continually passing other cars increases your chances of an accident. You should allow more space in front of your vehicle when following a large truck because you need the extra room to see around the truck. Before getting out of your car on the traffic side of the street, you should check traffic approaching from behind. Tailgating other drivers, driving too close to their rear bumper, can frustrate other drivers and may make them angry. When you see this red sign, you should stop and check traffic in all directions before proceeding. Instructions from a school crossing guard must be obeyed at all times. Solid yellow lines separate vehicles going in opposite directions. When a traffic signal is not working at an intersection, you should come to a complete stop and then proceed when it is safe. You were in a collision that caused more than $750 worth of damage. You must report the collision within 10 days to the DMV. Two vehicles are approaching an uncontrolled T intersection. One vehicle is on the through road and the other is on the road that ends. Who has the right of way at the intersection? The vehicle on the through road. An orange and red sign of this shape always means slow-moving vehicle. After passing a car, it is safe to return to your driving lane when you see the headlights of the passed car in your rearview mirror. You have consented to take a test for the alcohol content of your blood, breath, or urine whenever you drive in California. Which of these statements about drugs and driving is true? Even over-the-counter drugs can impair your driving. This red and white sign means the road ahead is closed to traffic in your direction. This yellow sign means the right lane will end ahead. When traffic is slow and heavy and you must cross railroad tracks before reaching the upcoming intersection, you should wait until you can completely cross the tracks before you proceed. You may turn right on a solid red light only after stopping and yielding to pedestrians and bicyclists unless otherwise posted. The speed limit in an alley is 15 miles per hour. This white sign means drive to the right. When looking ahead while driving, you should scan from side to side. If you have a green light, but traffic is blocking the intersection, stay out of the intersection until traffic clears. If you want to turn left ahead, in the middle of the road there is a lane marked as shown. You must merge completely into this traffic lane before making your left turn. You are approaching an uncontrolled intersection. You should slow down and be ready to stop. You may legally park your car in a bicycle lane if there is no sign forbidding it. You should use your horn when it may help prevent a collision. A red arrow pointing to the right on a traffic light means you may not turn in that direction until the light turns green. When you are driving in the far right lane on a freeway, you should expect merging vehicles at on-ramps. When you change lanes or merge with another lane, you Need at least a 4-second gap in traffic. Who has the right of way at an intersection with no crosswalks? Pedestrians always have the right of way. If you approach a curve or the top of a hill and you do not have a clear view of the road ahead, you should slow down so you can stop if necessary. During the first 12 months after you are licensed, you must be accompanied by your parent or guardian if you transport minors between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. You are driving on a one-way street. You may turn left onto another one-way street. If traffic on the street is moving to the left, this white sign means stay in the right lane if you are moving slower than the other traffic. Which of these vehicles must stop before crossing railroad tracks? Tank trucks marked with hazardous materials placards. When sharing the road with a light rail vehicle, never turn in front of an approaching light rail vehicle. Large trucks turning right onto a street with 2 lanes in each direction often have to use part of the left lane to complete their turn. You are crossing an intersection and an emergency vehicle is approaching with a siren and flashing lights. Continue through the intersection, pull to the right and stop. To make a right turn from a two-way street, start in the right-hand lane and end in the lane closest to the curb. You may legally drive in any carpool lane if you are carrying the minimum number of persons shown on the sign. This yellow sign means another road crosses yours ahead. You should always turn on your emergency flashers when our car has broken down on the roadway. You have studied hard and are getting prepared to have a successful permit test. Good luck with your written test.